Welcome everyone to this explainer. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here today. In this session, we're going to equip you with the exact tools you need to fairly evaluate proposals and truly help shape the Global English Language Teaching Program for TESOL 2027. Stepping into the role of a reviewer for the Culture and Intercultural Communication strand is a big deal. You are essentially the gatekeeper of quality, ensuring that the ideas we spotlight are innovative, inclusive, and highly impactful.
Okay, let's dive right in and map out your vital role. We'll be breaking your journey down into a really straightforward 4-part roadmap: context, compass, craft, and community. This structure is designed to make your review process as smooth, objective, and impactful as possible. Actually, before we go any further, I'd love for you to take a quick second and drop a hello in the chat. Let us know where in the world you're joining us from today. It's always amazing to see the global reach of our reviewer community.
Here is exactly how this explainer will unfold today. First, context, the CIC identity. Second, compass, ethics and bias. Third, craft, constructive feedback. And fourth, community, your next steps.
Let's start with our first pillar, Section 1, Context, the CIC identity.
To really ground our work as reviewers, we rely heavily on the CARLA definition of culture. It emphasizes that culture isn't just about surface-level traditions, it's about shared patterns. We're talking about behaviors, interactions, and cognitive constructs that are learned through socialization. For us, this is a foundational reminder. These shared patterns both identify members of a specific cultural group and, crucially, distinguish them from others. Understanding this depth helps us recognize proposals that truly grasp the complexity of cultural identity in language teaching, rather than just scratching the surface.
Now, these concepts definitely do not exist in a vacuum. They intersect in really fascinating ways. Think about how culture, intercultural competence, communication, and teaching culture all overlap in a language classroom. As experts like Liddicoat and Scarino note, intercultural competence means recognizing that literally all behaviors are culturally variable. There is absolutely no single normal or default way of being. So as you review, we want you to look for proposals that explore this exact intersection and challenge those default assumptions.
So, what exactly makes a winning submission when you finally log in and open that portal? Well, keep your eyes peeled for 4 key traits. First, relevance. Does it directly connect to intercultural ELT? Second, fresh innovation. Third, nuance. We want perspectives that avoid oversimplifying or essentializing cultures. And finally, crystal clear clarity in its intended outcomes. Take a moment and ask yourself, of those 4 traits, which one do you think is the hardest for presenters to nail down? Keep that in mind as your baseline for identifying a truly strong proposal.
Now we move on to Section 2, Compass, Ethics and Bias.
Navigating the review process requires a strong ethical compass, and yours relies on 3 strict principles: confidentiality, fairness, and timeliness. First, you absolutely must keep all proposal contents private, before, during, and after the review. Second, evaluate objectively, basing your scores solely on the provided rubric, not personal preference. And third, you have to strictly adhere to deadlines. Specifically, completing all of your reviews by the July 20th cutoff is absolutely crucial to ensure our strand coordinators can finalize their decisions on time.
As you're reading through submissions, constantly ask yourself, am I applying my intercultural lens here? You need to be on high alert for 4 major red flags. If you see deficit thinking, which is basically framing a learner's culture or background as a problem to fix, flag it. The exact same rule applies for blatant stereotypes, othering language, or general insensitivity. If any of these pop up in a proposal, don't ignore it. You'll want to check the specific box in the review portal to flag it directly for the coordinators so they can take a closer look.
But what happens when the bias or conflict of interest actually involves you? It happens. If you recognize a colleague's project, that's a clear conflict of interest. You should immediately request a reassignment. Or, if a highly specific topic is just entirely outside your area of expertise, again, request a reassignment. However, and this is a big distinction, if you simply disagree with a theoretical approach, but it is well researched and argued, you should proceed with an objective review. We always have to separate our own personal preferences from the academic merit of the proposal.
Let's shift gears now to Section 3, Craft. Constructive feedback.
How you deliver your feedback matters immensely. Notice the stark difference here. Instead of being abrupt in writing, the proposal is full of typos. Try using collegial I statements. Something like, I was distracted by typographical errors. Have you considered asking a colleague to review? This offers a supportive, professional path forward rather than just a harsh command. Keep in mind that we are an international community, and English is an additional language for many submitters. Our goal is always to build our colleagues up, not tear them down.
While we're on the topic of feedback, you also need to avoid a few common traps. First off, never make promises to the applicant in your comments. Saying something like, "I would definitely attend this," can create false hope if the proposal isn't ultimately accepted. And please do not simply copy and paste your notes from the applicant box directly into the coordinator box. They serve entirely different purposes. Coordinator notes should be brief, internal directives, while the notes you leave for the applicant must be detailed, encouraging, and constructive.
Let's actually put this into practice for a second. Imagine you are the applicant, and you receive this comment. Your session on international students is terrible because it assumes they have no prior knowledge. Also, I think this should be accepted. Take a second and look at that. Can you spot everything that went wrong here? Well, first, it uses a really harsh, unprofessional tone. It practically attacks the applicant instead of addressing the content, and wildly enough, it makes a verdict promise directly to the applicant at the end. Let's definitely avoid all of those traps.
And finally, we arrive at Section 4, Community, your next steps.
To stay consistent across what might be dozens of proposals, we highly recommend relying on this 5-step gold standard blueprint. Step 1, read thoroughly for alignment in any of those red flags we discussed. Step 2, evaluate objectively against the rubric. Step 3, draft your constructive, supportive I statements. Step 4, separate your feedback properly for the applicant and the coordinator. And finally, Step 5, submit on time while maintaining total confidentiality. This workflow will save you so much time and stress.
It's important to understand how your work fits into the bigger picture, because your objective scores directly dictate a proposal's fate. Proposals that score over 18 across the reviewers go straight into the accept pile. Those scoring under 14 are generally rejected, and those mid-range scores from 14 to 17, those become our maybes or alternates. Your careful, unbiased scoring is literally the engine that makes this entire system work fairly for everyone involved.
Now, reviewing proposals is incredibly important, but it's really just the beginning of your journey with us. We actively encourage you to expand your impact year-round. Think about joining a TESOL interest section or jumping into the learning management and member information system communities. The goal here is to help us build and sustain intercultural connections that last long after the 2027 convention comes to a close.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. As you log in and open that portal, how will you use your intercultural lens to elevate diverse voices and fairly shape the future of ELT? Please keep that question at the forefront of your mind as you evaluate. Thank you so much for volunteering your time and your immense expertise to TESOL. We are now going to transition into an open Q&A session. So please go ahead and drop your questions in the chat or raise your digital hand if any rubric details, reassignment scenarios, or portal features are still a bit unclear. Let's build a fantastic program together.